Hey, how you doing? This is Adam Post, publisher of more than 1,000 comic books and marketing expert covering the woke boycotts. Anheuser-Busch is being forced to pay for their mistakes. Bud Light will be paying millions of dollars to their distributors to cover the cost of saving workers, to cover the losses they've had over the last 2 months from this horrendous boycott, which, let's face it, is never going to end. The brand is just going to shrink, and there's going to be a new reality. Anheuser-Busch was trying to avoid making these payments. We just covered this the other day. Beer Business Daily was telling us how they're not making payments, how distributors were shocked to not hear from Anheuser-Busch already that payments would be coming because they've lost a lot of money over this Dylan Mulvaney promotion. But recently, there was a release from Anheuser-Busch Corporate saying they will be paying distributors and will be covering millions of dollars in their losses and try to help keep them in business. Let's get into the story. Before we do, please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications. Give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate you guys. I'm trying to get to 25,000 subscribers. So if you can subscribe, please do subscribe. Thank you so much for that. So this article comes from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Anheuser-Busch offers to pay distributors, wholesalers hurt by plunging Bud Light sales. They had to do this. This came out through a public SEC filing just on this past Thursday, June 15th. This was the official filing, and I always like to go to official filings so I don't just have to deal with characterizations of how people describe this. The reason they had to do this public filing is because this is not a trivial event. This is a major event in the history of Anheuser-Busch InBev. Stockholders want to know what's going on the same way that distributors want to know what's going on. The stockholders have been beaten up very badly. The stock has bounced back a little bit, and it's not doing as badly as it was recently. Right now, they're down roughly $20 billion, not the $27 billion figure that we hear people talk about still. If they actually make reasonable announcements and take reasonable moves to try to resolve the new reality of the Bud Light situation, which means they're never going to be number one again, but they probably can still make money being number two, even if they're number three. They just have to be honest and actually talk to people and also pay what they need to pay to help their distributors, and their stock will probably recover, maybe not to the same level, but maybe to the same level. There's a lot of other things they have going on in their business. This is what their filing basically says. In fact, this is what their filing exactly says, because you're looking at the real filing if you're looking at your screen. We recognize that over the last 2 months, the discussion surrounding our company and Bud Light has moved away from beer, and this has impacted our consumers, our business partners, and our employees. Now, what's interesting about this in particular is, while they do mention their consumers first here, you'll notice when they make comments and a statement concerning consumers, it is their last concern on their list of 3 items. That does show you how much they respect their consumers. They don't. They're a beer company, and beer is for everyone. Today, we are announcing 3 important actions as we continue to move our business forward. First, we are investing to protect the jobs of our frontline employees. Second, we are providing financial assistance to our independent wholesalers, these are the distributors, to help them support their employees and keep their employees. Third, to all our valued consumers, we hear you. Our summer advertising launches next week, and you can look forward to Bud Light reinforcing what you've always loved about our brand, that it's easy to drink and easy to enjoy. That kind of communication to consumers, it just doesn't make any sense. First of all, the consumer comment really should have been first to show they're serious about pleasing their ultimate customer, who is the consumer, the people that actually drink the beer they make. But secondly, this has a message to consumers. It's meaningless. Hey, keep an eye out for our ads. You're going to want to buy our beer because it's easy to drink and enjoy. It just doesn't sound compelling as a potential customer. It wouldn't make me buy it. As we move forward, we will focus on what we do best, brewing great beer and earning our place in moments that matter to you. Here's to a future with more cheers from Brendan Whitworth, CEO of Anheuser-Busch. They do need to make these payments to distributors. The video that we did was based on how upset the distributors were a week prior to this Thursday, so that would go back to June 8th. And this was a report from Beer Business Daily, and we covered this where distributors were waiting for Godot as far as they were concerned. Not Gadot, that's Gal Gadot, waiting for Godot, which is a play. The play symbolizes the absurdity of existence and purposelessness of life, and how suffering increases with the passage of time. The distributors really felt like they were left out on a limb, and they were. Yes, it's true that if they're going to start doing specialty programs on a big level and paying out millions and millions of dollars, and this could be at least in the tens, if not ultimately the hundreds of millions of dollars to subsidize their distributors, they do need to do a public filing about it. And yeah, they need to be a little quiet about it, and they can't just talk about it with distributors until they do a public release, because they're a big public company, and it's important that everyone gets material or important business information at the same time. Sure, they were required to do that. The distributors should never have felt like they weren't going to be helped or taken care of by Bud Light, and they certainly felt that way, at least up until this announcement. Let's get into this story a little bit more because it talks about a few more of the specifics. Anheuser-Busch, in an effort to soften the blow from a more than 2-month boycott on Bud Light, on Thursday announced it would provide financial assistance to its distributors, wholesalers, and other partners. In a securities filing, the company said it would offer sales incentives, boost marketing, and help cover the costs of fuel and freight. National retail sales of Bud Light have been down more than 25% since the controversy began. At current, it's 28.2% on volume. So 28.2% less beer bottles and beer cans moving through the system. In May, the brand lost its long-held spot as the top-selling beer in America for that month, though it still has sold the most beer by far in both volume and dollars to date this year, said Bump Williams of Bump Williams Consulting, which specializes in alcoholic beverages. So for the month of May, they've lost it. If for some reason their sales bounce back tremendously in the month of June and July, which is obviously not going to happen, then they would retain that number one spot for the year. They're not going to. In fact, their sales are going to be reported for the end of this coming quarter very soon. And then in September, they're going to get shelf space taken away from them on a semi-permanent basis, such that they're not going to have the opportunity to regain the position that they've lost, even if people were buying their beer. Whitworth's letter promises to make investments that will protect the jobs of their frontline employees and to provide financial assistance to independent wholesalers. Where it is legal, the filing states, the company will provide sales incentive payments, so cash payments, to wholesalers for beer sold throughout 2023. The company will also extend extra credit to wholesalers for the rest of the year, giving them more time to pay where legal, and will additionally reimburse wholesalers for freight and fuel surcharges for the rest of the year. This is important, the freight and the fuel surcharges, because yes, they've been buying back expired beer, and that's helpful because who wants to pay for beer that expires? Although that's normally the deal with the wholesalers, it's gotten much worse because nobody wants to buy this beer. But who wants to pay a lot of money to ship the beer to you in the first place if the beer's not going to sell? That is a bit of a problem. The wholesaler shouldn't be paying shipping if the beer is ultimately going to have to be destroyed. The filing also pledges to incrementally increase investments promoting its brand in local markets. They need to do something like that because the distributors do promote the beer locally, and they tell the stores and they tell the restaurants that they service that they're going to promote the beer locally. Someone has to pay to promote that beer locally. If you were an independent wholesaler of Bud Light, you would not be promising stores that you're going to spend a lot of money on marketing right now because nobody wants the stuff and they don't know what their business is going to be like. They certainly can't tell stores, hey, don't worry about it. We're going to spend a lot of money on marketing. None of us know if that's going to work. I'm assuming it's not going to work. Ben Steinman, president of Beer Marketers Insights, said Anheuser-Busch's moves will help. Quote, it's an important step, Steinman said. You could argue it could have been more, but clearly they're addressing a need that was arising loud and clear from their wholesaler community. They needed help, and this is significant. Without the beer wholesalers, they can't sell any beer. So they really need these wholesalers. Even if they're not happy, they need to be able to at least operate, which means they need money, They need somebody promoting the beer locally because the wholesalers can't be expected to do it when there's such a massive boycott on that probably isn't ever going away. They need to step up and spend for Bud Light, and Anheuser-Busch. It's going to be maybe as little as $500 million to get the beer from losing its number one spot to solidifying at maybe a number 2 or a number 3 spot. That's possible because some people are still buying Bud Light, God help them, but they are. Anheuser-Busch products, including Bud Light, are distributed by Gray Eagle Distributors in all or part of 14 counties in the St. Louis area. Gray Eagle President and CEO David Stokes said, quote, "I'm pleased with the substantial commitment to our partnership. This support will go a long way towards helping our employees and our company as we work together to restore our collective business in our hometown." Part of Anheuser-Busch's CEO Whitworth's letter is directed towards Bud Light consumers who are unhappy about the marketing effort that included Mulvaney. Quote, "We hear you. Our summer advertising launches next week, and you can look forward to Bud Light reinforcing what you've always loved about our brand, that it's easy to drink and easy to enjoy." That is completely not going to resonate with any consumers in any way. And I've seen some articles that have said, oh, the Bud Light CEO finally came out and talked to consumers. He's not talking to consumers. He just slipped this meaningless sentence. Again, him and his meaningless sentences. He put this sentence into their SEC filing. Consumers aren't seeing this. And even if they saw this, it means nothing to them. It basically just says, hey, dummy, go buy our crappy beer. The current Bud Light marketing slogan is, quote, "easy to drink and easy to enjoy." I don't see how this is going to help them all that much, except that their distributors were probably on the point of revolting because they were losing so much money. Can you imagine being a distributor of Bud Light right now? You've got your sales reps that aren't making the money they should be making. You've got your customers who are the stores, the restaurants, the convenience stores saying, hey, nobody wants to buy this. Stop coming here and sending it to me. I'm not interested in this product. Someone's got to come in and start spending millions on top of millions of dollars to try to save whatever they can. In some of the places that Bud Light is operating, they've lost as much as 60% of their sales. That's in Florida, 40% in Delaware, 50% in Staten Island. Nationally, it's 28.2%. In some markets, it's much worse than 28.2%. Those distributors have lost all the business potentially they could sell. You can't go aggressively and try to promote and sell something and paint your trucks in the Bud Light logo colors and say, hey, I'm a Bud Light salesman, when people are throwing rocks at you and are angry at the sales reps, and you can't ask the stores to put Bud Light promotional materials in the window. Locally, I've seen people take the signs out of the local gas station that used to have the Budweiser neon light in the window. They can't even promote the beer in any way. So the company had to step up. They were forced to step up. If they didn't come in and offer these millions, their distributors would have had to drop them completely. I don't know if this is going to help them that much. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Do you agree that they had to come in and start spending some millions and millions of dollars to try to support these independent distributors? Because if you're an independent distributor and they come along with this Dylan Mulvaney promotion and cost you tons of business and all kinds of trouble, wouldn't you at a minimum expect this? This looks like it prevents lawsuits from happening because they are offering to cover their losses and they're offering additional financial support. Let me know if you think this was a good move or not. Always interested to see your comments. Really love to see your ideas. Please be sure you are subscribed to the channel. Click the bell for notifications, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you again soon with another video. And if I don't see you, I will miss you.